Hello, everybody, and welcome to FLUTI number 7. I'm Sasu here with Mari, and we are currently in the group section, which is going to lead into that bracket. But for now, it is going to be Division S. I feel like that's kind of a stand-in for Div X, sort of. Nawal versus Tilinus. But before we get into that, Mari, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited to commentate with you, my wonderful co-commentator, and also we're gonna have some really exciting games here since Div S, this is the best of the best that this tournament has to offer. I'm expecting immediate action, immediate games full of just non-stop fun, and I'm so excited, especially looking at these map modes. We have Clams Inkblot, TC Undertow, two kind of standard ones, and then we have Rainmaker Mako, which we're not super used to seeing, right, Sasu?
Yeah, here to just troll the entire best of three, so to speak. We also have Wings on the stream in the background, making sure that everything goes along smoothly. And we were all talking behind the scenes, talking about how it's so rare that you see a best of three that doesn't have any zones. So these teams are going to be working hard to hold on to show that they belong in Division S. And let's take a look at these loadouts for our first game.
Some really interesting things we're seeing here. Oh my gosh. I mean, I was looking at that brush, I was like, oh, that's a little out there. But Dynamo and Heavy, that is not something we're seeing. But with that new Dynamo buff, Sasu, I think we're probably going to see some really good fights, as we already see one down on both sides. With, it looks like right now, Nawal having the lead, sort of, but nothing happening really as Crab Tank is popped and Coolers are too.
Yeah, we have Luis here, famed editor, just trying to see what they can get on that left side. I believe on that Rapid, gonna go down. That's gonna be huge because that does deny the team that Cooler that we would see. And you see Rays here just hunting down, but gonna get countered there with the hammer, ultimately ending in a trade, which is exactly what you want to see up against a hammer. So right now, as you often see in Inkblot, we're at a bit of a stalemate. It's hard for you to really get through mid and up that ramp, but we'll see which of these teams is able to do so first.
Yeah, both that Cooler being popped, we also have that Crab Tank on that Sword player right there, popping it in that corner on that ramp, trying to get something, able to get that Dynamo player 2 down, getting that extra chip, hopefully allowing their teammates to come in here as they do score a power clam on the side of Tilinus. So far, not getting much points as 74 is on the board, but that's the start as they're just getting more and more kills on Nawal, Sasu.
Yes, but you see they've gotten past that magic 60-point mark, making this push all the worth it, down to 38. Ultimately, I think you have the Dynamo just putting down that wall of ink, making anyone unable to get closer there. One last clam gonna get in their clutch, down to a 38, and it's only going to be this Crab Stamper up. So I think Nawal is now in the place where they can get their push in to see what they can do here on that basket, but we'll see if they're able to make it. So far, they've whipped the clam, it seems.
Yeah, they are able to get it in, but at the cost of their lives. As a wipeout does happen, they're back on the scoreboard, but we don't know if they want that, because as commentators typically say, we want to see that 60 score, and they just gave Tilinus a free pity, which they did immediately come in to score more clams. Not really getting anything because of that big penalty, but still, time that's spent on the side of Nawal's side is not good for them because it's just taking down the clock.
That is a great point, Mari, because even if they're not able to necessarily get the knockout here, they do get that number down to a 28. Not the hugest amount of points on the board, but like you said, they are ultimately wasting a lot of time. But Ruiz there, I think, is able to get that aura, that flow state, so to speak, before going down themselves. So there's a bit of a reset in mid. I think Eisen is trying to take that right stack before getting chipped out by Luis. So once again, we're at a stalemate stalemate going on here. I think Special's just coming out to see who can inch forward, but Darley, I think, is trying to get their teammates to get them in with that basket, but I don't know. It's just so hard to move forward, it looks like.
Yeah, that Brush player doing what they do best, causing all of that mischief behind, kind of just immediately took any momentum that Nawal might have for this push. But they do get one player down, coming up, trying to get anything happening, but so far it looks like we're still at that good old standstill that Tilinus has been so good at causing for the moment. 2 down, not looking like this is going to be a push for Nawal, and instead Tilinus is pushing back into the spawn here, trying to get something more as they get another pick on that heavy, which is a really good pick there.
Yeah, and plus there's just so much special use. You see, we did see that hammer that ultimately does get punished along with that hammer, and it is just going to be the Brush who is up, and they've gone back to base, so that's going to be it for that push. Down to a 6, but that now means that Nawal is looking down essentially a knockout here if they're wanting to take this game, and that's going to be especially difficult on a mode like Clams, because not only do you need the Clam economy to do so, and you need to defend properly, which they were not able to do right under our noses. Tilinus just eliminated 3 members of Nawal and closed out the game just like that.
Yeah, they did such a good job separating the members of Nawal, especially with that Brush player Bonk, kind of going around causing people to have to turn one way while the other members kind of just collapse on the last member. Really good game, and as we go into Tower Control Undertow, I'm curious to see how Nawal might respond to this, because with how dominant that first game is, I don't know if I can really see Nawal coming back from this, Sasu.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult. I have to wonder, we did see some less conventional picks weapon-wise from Nawal. We saw that heavy when you tend to see maybe like a mini or a heavy edit in the department of Splatling. So now that we're switching to a bit more wide of a place, I don't know if anyone on the team necessarily has a true backline in a charger. This can be a really solid map for a leader, so to speak, or something that just has a lot of reach. So even if we had to change, ballpoint, not so much in the meta these days, but I think definitely having a jet and having a bit more of that mobility, that might help Nawal. But gonna be curious to see if that if we see a little bit more AoE now that we've switched to tower as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, AoE, I think of S-Blast. Everyone thinks of S-Blast. Everyone, I don't think I know anyone who doesn't hate that weapon, or at least slightly dislikes it. Even the S-Blast players, I feel like. So, I'm curious if we'll see that, since that's such a played weapon. I also just have to think, this is a wider, longer map like you're talking about, with that longer range benefiting from it, but also at the same time, that kind of gives more area for the Brush to kind of roam around, which felt like a really big problem. I want to think, will they speed up their comp a little bit? Because Heavy and Dynamo, pretty slow, but we're getting into it, kind of seeing right now what they're bringing out, and looks like we do have a comp change, Sasu.
Yes, we have a change from that heavy over to the heavy edit instead. So that is going to be the cooler pick, with just about everyone on Tilinus keeping what they were running, except we have a switch over to that sticker stamper here from Rippling, I think, who may have been on the crab stamper instead. So right off the top, you have 2 members going down from Nawal. That cooler does come out from Luis as well, and they are just holding on to that Booyah Bomb just for threat's sake. So already a really strong opening push here from Tilinus.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is poised for them to get more points, as that heavy edit's trying to push up, but they're down now as they keep getting there, and they're already to the final checkpoint right now. Points ticking down. getting more and more splats in their spawn. This doesn't look like it's going to be any opportunity for them, as it's just taking down, and that's a wipeout. That's a knockout for us, and oh my gosh, Sasu, what a dominant game.
Yes, that is what I believe is a 100-0 push there. We
Yeah.
were talking about how dominant that other game was, but this, of course, I think with just about no breaks, was even harder. But not the most surprising given the comp, because I can tell you, as a heavy edit player myself, I'm certainly not trying to go up against a rapid blaster. They eat my lunch like nothing else, so that must have been very difficult, especially on retake there for Nawal.
Absolutely, and I love the team play from Tilinus with just that sword pushing up and then the brush taking advantage of the distraction the sword played, even throwing that hammer. With a bad opening like that, it can be so hard to come back from it, and that's why it's a snowbally map sometimes.
Yeah, Undertow can be very unforgiving on that retake,
Mhm.
especially when you're just kind of being dominated. There's not many places to go. You're just sort of left in that corner. So that is going to be the 0-2 here. By the way of Tilinus, but we are going to continue on with the groups, but not before taking a short break. So don't go anywhere. We are going to continue with these FLUTI groups.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to back to FLUTI 7. I'm joined by my lovely co-commentator Sasu, and we are about to get into Chili's versus Revenant in Divs S. We are going into round 3, unfortunately, because there is a bit of a delay with round 2, but we're definitely going to have some really exciting games here as I'm looking at this map. Sasu, how are you doing?
I'm ready to get into these games. Like you said, we kind of hopscotched over round 2, straight into round 3, but that just means that the stakes are that much higher. I think that Revenant, coming off of a win in their second group match, Chili's coming off of a loss, so both of these teams have a lot to prove to make sure that they make it into that bracket, because it's only going to be the top 2 from each group, I believe.
Yeah, both teams are 1-1 right now, and Chili's is the second highest seed in this group. So it's a bit surprising that they're 1-1, with Gaia getting the upset on Chili's actually in round 2. So they definitely need to get something happening this set to be able to have any chance of making it into that finals. But here we go, getting started. Looking at these weapon comps, what are you thinking looking at this?
Let's see here. We do have, honestly, a very rare pick. As you can see, we have, I think that's the, Bloblobber Deco. So, a lot of people do love to run, a Kraken when it comes to Rainmaker, just due to its pushing power. But you see already off the top, Revenant has lost 3 members, so this is looking to probably be just about a free check for Chili's, which they do get with ease. So their Kraken comes out, they're going to see if they can contest that, but right off the top, Chili's going to still steal a few more points.
Yeah, definitely noticing some of that cheese options, like you said, the Kraken, and then also on the other side, we have that back, which could be really huge in a opportunity. But here we go, getting started with Chili's push. They unfortunately lose the strike, so both sides are even, but coming back in, actually Coolard, getting that first check, hopefully getting the opportunity to get in there. As we see right now, this NSAP actually getting one, trying to push back a little bit, but forced to back up for the moment due to that Kraken and back.
Yes, and 49er does get out of there, gets out of dodge, but all of the members of Chili's are just descending upon that Rainmaker to make sure that they can grab it once again. The Crab is just looking to chip out, does get one there from Metro, but before just a barrage of these specials comes out, that's going to be the Kraken and the strikes, and ultimately Chili's just yanks that lead out of the hands of Revenant, and they're making a run.
Oh my gosh!
Just dunk! I did not see that coming, Mari. Holy heck.
No, I was not ready for that, but that just goes to show how powerful that snowball is after you get that first check. They were able to use their specials so well on the side of Chili's with that Vac and that Kraken getting those picks, forcing the Rainmaker up, and I love the Rainmaker's patience too, Sasu. I love the fact that they didn't just run with it, they took that time to like sit there, take a moment, and wait, because waiting gave them that perfect opportunity to let their teammates get that wipeout and just get that knockout.
Yeah, Rainmaker I think is really the perfect balance of pushing your luck and then also waiting, because I think if they'd waited and been too patient, they might have been able to go down rather than them just kind of stealing those points. They relied on their teammates to get the picks, and that's what got them the win in the end. Now we are going to move on to zones. You might be like, Shifty Station in Splatoon 3, we're like, you know, let's just keep it a little bit of a surprise, but I'm ruining the surprise here, Mari. It is going to be Urchin Zones for Chili's and Revenant, and this is going to be Revenant's shot to make sure that they keep their win streak going, because like you said, they're both 1-1, and right now we are at match point for Chili's, and I think that Urchin can kind of be a bit of a hard one if you're not ready for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It definitely changes up how you do things, because there's a lot of debate on if like backlines are good or not on this map. So kind of changes how you have to do things. But we do see actually a change to Dynamo on one side. I love that change personally because Dynamo is so good when hanging out in that zone under that ledges. I'd love to see how they do it, especially with the buffs that Dynamo has just gotten, Sasu.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree here, Mari. You don't even necessarily have to be in zone. If you're just on that sort of lip right above zone, you can reach the other side and do maximum damage. And now we have Tubba Wubba here. Also changed onto that regular that V Bloblobber, so we're going to have that rain, going to be super helpful for that zone so far. But 3 members down for Revenant. Chili's still on their tirade, moving up to see if they can lock out the other team. Bishop Mode just throwing out those bursts before going down ultimately. And I think that we thought they could have fended them off with how much of an advantage they had. But Revenant has done a really good job of getting back into mid and zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Revenant needs this, especially with the match point that we were talking about. This is make or break for them. So really good stuff getting back into zone, but looks like Chili's is not being taken lightly right now as they immediately get back in after a very short hold from Revenant. Pushing all the way up, no specials currently. Actually, we do have that Booyah Bomb immediately being popped to try to continue that, but with the hammer throw getting too, this could be a really good opportunity for Revenant to get back in, hold any more points, but Chili's amazing hold they are having here.
Yes, but you see, Revenant has gotten back into zone and claimed it for themselves. It just seems like the thing that's so difficult about Urchin zones is everyone can kind of be everywhere all at once. Bishop Mode is taking this off angle, getting into this 1v1, gonna lose that ultimately to the Wiper in Link, or let me know, I guess, LMK. And you see they tried to take that top right, but Foam Archer was there waiting for them on that slosher. So right now, we've seen a change of hands in terms of the lead. Revenant getting it for themselves, though. With those strikes, I think that might be the zone for Chili's. And this has been a really fantastic game because you can see that Revenant has their life on the line with how back and forth this has been.
Yeah, absolutely. That Dynamo trying to take an angle, trying to get something to happen, but no, unfortunately goes down. And I'm not sure if that was the best play, as we see Revenant all the way pushed back in their spawn. This is definitely going to be a lead shift here as the zone changes. This is a really dangerous position, Sasu, as we are kind of getting into the knockout territory as the Kraken gets punished in startup too. The bubble comes out. They really gotta go here, Sasu.
Yes, and go they did. 2 of their members gonna go down for it, but at the very least, they stopped the bleeding, stopped Foam Archer, who immediately got their flow aura. As you can see, 49er just trying to take that off angle and does so importantly, gets their Kraken, does not get canceled this time, and is just chasing everyone back. No doubt, they're probably gonna get punished out of this. And they do, but all the while, Revenant has taken the zone back. This is going to be a little bit hard because you see that Chili's, they have a Booyah Bomb, they have strikes, they have a lot of ways to get that zone back. So this is going to be an uphill battle here for Revenant.
Yeah, this Dynamo doing a really good job putting them back, providing that chip with lets their teammates get that picks. We have 2 players back, and we see right now Chili's being pushed all the way back into their spawn. They really got to go here, popping those strikes to try to get that zone uncapped, but it does not uncap. So this is a lead for Revenant, and now they got to get that zone, which looks like they won't be able to as everyone goes down in zone. That's a knockout for the side of Revenant, taking it to that 1-1 position, Sasu.
Mari, that was absolutely crazy. I wasn't sure if they were going to pull it out there, but they did a great job of just contesting the crazy amount of specials that Chili's had in order to take that zone. You see that they were painting over it, and they knew that that's where their resources had to be instead of necessarily fighting up. And that was just... that was a fantastic game to see them hold for that long.
Oh my gosh, yes. I loved seeing that power out of Revenant. We couldn't see too much out of them that first game since it was a pretty quick knockout, but seeing their teamwork, seeing how well they worked. I loved the Dynamo pick for them. It worked so well, especially with that chip comboing with their other teammates. Oh my gosh, I love to see it. I love chip comps like that. But now we're getting into a really, really big one. This is the one that decides it. Mako Tower, a map everyone knows and loves. What do you think going into this game 3, Sasu?
Mako Tower, definitely one of my favorites. I love to play here. Gonna be looking to see if that Dynamo stays. As I always say, Mari, he who controls the stacks controls the game. So ultimately, it is going to be switched out, as we see here. Instead, it's been switched back to the Zap. But I'm sure Bishop Mode and Foam Archer are going to be looking to put a lot of AoE on the tower and on those stacks to control as much basing as they can. But this time around, they're up against a Pencil, so they've got their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah, Pencil's such a strong weapon with that range. Everyone knows it, everyone either loves it or hates it. I don't think I've ever met someone with a neutral opinion. But here we go, Revenant right now getting started on that TC. Already on checkpoint 1, probably going to clear it here as, here we go, they do. But with one player going down on the side of Revenant, looks like that push is going to be stopped for the moment. Foster trying to push up, but does unfortunately get punished. But wait a minute, look at this end zap here, Sasu.
Listen, firstly, the end zap is just on an absolute tirade, just getting that pick there, Kelpie Welpy, before getting tipped out by the Pencil. But, you know, we haven't mentioned it much. There's also the Bloblobber on Chili's, and I think that it bears mentioning because that Bloblobber also has the Rain, and the Rain is the special that forced the Pencil off and stopped the push in that last push there from Revenant. So right now it's going to be the Booyah Bomb. Still, you see that Achilles has 2 GG specials, lots of displacement to go, but not enough to displace Metro, who was in that bubble and is trying to secure these picks to keep that push going.
Yeah, getting delayed a little bit, and Revenant now forced off of the tower. They were almost to that second checkpoint there, but for now having to go back. If we look at this Hammer here trying to cause some problems, almost getting one pick, but it looks like they tried to go for the trick shot or something like that, which did not work out. Bold move trying something like that, but right now looks like this is going to finally be Chili's opportunity to push as 2 members go down, but actually no, LMK doing a great job causing mischief on that Wiper, Sasu.
Listen, LMK, story of my life. I'm just in this 1v1 with this guy, and I'm like, he's what? Someone come help me! Unfortunately, that help not going to come, but doesn't matter, I think, at the end of the day, because you see that Chili's, despite having that opening game that was so good, and LMK finally getting their lick back in that 1v1 and going on getting a second pick there, it seems like this game has been in the hands of Revenant so far, and you wouldn't know it from that first game because Chili's barely has any points on the board. 2 of their members go down, but one of them, of course, is a Kraken, so they aren't going to go down, at least not yet, and I think they've done a fantastic job of keeping the entire board essentially in their hands.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to worry about that objective as much when you have 2 really aggro players who just keep going up, keep causing that problem, and then you have your Pen who can just hang out behind, kind of handle that objective for you. But this is what we're really seeing coming out for the side of Chili's, and it's not working well for Revenant doing that aggro push, and we're not seeing Chili's really have the ability to respond super well. 2 players are down, but that bubble causing more problems. This might finally be the opportunity, but I'm scared of the commentator's curse, so trying not to jinx anything for them as, well, 3 players went down.
Yeah, I think that, interestingly, Chili's, it feels as though they're in damage control mode. Like, they haven't been able to put any of their own pushes up because despite the fact that often you'll look up and just like now, I was gonna say, you see 2 members down often for Revenant. Not super shocking because they have a Wiper and a Brush. Those are very skirmishy weapons that are just kind of destined to go down. But, like, despite the fact that those 2 people are down, Chili's has just been struggling to really get that push in, but so far they have finally made it past a checkpoint. They are down to 63, but of course there is that Kraken who can just clear tower as they please, so they're going to get 2 picks ultimately with 30 seconds left in this game, and it's just not looking good for Chili's. They've been on the back foot the entire game, it seems.
Now, unfortunately, last member who was in mid does get punished there, so this is an even worse opportunity for them to get in. We have that Kraken ready, so we have that cheese, we have that bubbler ready too. Even if they get on that tower, they really need something to happen here, and no, the Kraken is on tower. That is going to be it. Revenant takes game 3, Sasu.
Kraken is the true GG special that Revenant had in their pocket, despite the fact that they're up against Strikes and a Booyah Bomb. Revenant going to continue their winning streak here, getting out of this group. Not this group, but this match, essentially, 2-1, making it all the more likely that they leave this group into the top bracket. So that's a congratulations for Revenant, and a bit of an unfortunate loss here for Chili's.
Yeah, both teams played really, really well. I just love the adjustments that Revenant made that set. Such a big difference from that game 1. I know we keep talking about it, but like, I wouldn't have expected that set to go the way it did from game 1.
No, for sure. Game 1, a really clear knockout there for Chili's. Game 2, definitely we saw way more back and forth to the point where Revenant just kind of pulled it out at the end. Surprising, I feel like all of us were like, no way! Like, not that they were losing, but they had just a really strong hold in the face of a lot of specials, so it was almost like a tug of war here. It was one-sided at the first time, then it was sort of in the middle, and then it was one-sided in that final game. So definitely some great Splatoon that we got to witness here, and that is not going to be all of it. We are going to go to a bit of a break, hopefully a little bit shorter this time, but you don't go anywhere because we still have some fast FLUTI here for you after this break. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fast Looting number 7. We are in the annals of Division S, and we're looking at Chunky Milk versus Fire Hazard. I'm here with my co-commentator Mari, and once again, we're at a best of 3 in groups with our fourth. Well, not once again with our 4th and 5th seed, but we are with our 4th and 5th seed in Chunky Milk and Fire Hazard. But we'll be starting off on Zones Umami. Mari, tell me your thoughts about this map mode.
I personally love this map mode. I'm an edit player, so hanging out around those zones, being able to take advantage of your jump height just to like jump over that like little platform next to mid, jump up, scare people, it's so fun. And I just think it's a pretty well-rounded map mode because having those 2 zones really prevents any funny business, even though Slatter can't do that as much anymore. It gives you a little bit more comfort. It helps a little more fighting. I think it's a little bit more exciting personally. But looking at all of these map modes, these are actually really solid across the map. But we are getting straight into it. No time to talk about the other map modes right now. And getting ready to look at these weapon comps. I have opinions about this, but Sasu, I'll let you start.
Let's take a look here. Well, we do have that Brella. Brella has been on the receiving end of a lot of buffs, so the Brella stocks are certainly up. Obviously, I've got my buddy JJ, one of the strongest Brella players, so this is a good place to run it, but Nozzle Nose is certainly an interesting choice, but I think the stocks are kind of up for Nozzle Nose as well, so we'll see how that works out for both of these teams. But so far, right off the top, we have Fire Hazard with an early lead. Moon God just trying to see what they can get. Not quite going to get anything, in fact, going to get punished, but not without getting that trade there. So Chunky Milk, worst name maybe I have ever heard. Gonna get that zone and take that snipe, which is all important being on that dome because it denies the backline somewhere really strong and safe to kind of set up.
And they are so far pushed up. We saw with that inkjet, they're getting people inside their spawn. This is a really good position, and that pen even punishing anyone trying to go around. Mini way pushed up here. Oh my gosh, I wonder if this is going to be like a 100-0 push here. But looks like the roller trying to push up here. Hopefully getting one more person, but not able to as they do jump out. But oh my gosh, I love the pressure that they are putting on. They're just not getting out, and 15 points left on the clock, Sasu. I am not feeling positive for Fire Hazard right now.
Yeah, especially because they do not have those strikes, and that's exactly what they need. Pickle going to get a pick in that zone and kind of trolls accidentally by going into triple ink strikes when really I think they could have continued sloshing, gotten maybe another more pick, another person goes down in that zone, and that would have just kind of given it to them, and they might have done strikes then. So unfortunate choice making there, but honestly they were in dire straits, so I certainly can't blame them.
Yeah, potentially maybe waiting for another teammate to contest another spot or something like that. But, you know, in those like close knockout positions, it's so tense. You're just trying to do everything you can to potentially do something that might give your team the chance to get back into that game. So I don't blame them for that. But now we are getting into our next match, which our next match will be Clams on Barnacle. I personally really like this map. I think it's a pretty well-rounded one, but it does have the tendency for snowballs and lockout situations. But Sasu, what do you think about it?
Well, I am also an edit player here on the mic.
We are very biased.
As much as I can be very biased against Barnacle and Dime zones, I feel completely differently about Clams. I think that clams, there's just more space to move. I would also argue there's less tendency for those lockouts because you have team members, at the very least, if they have you pushed up and they're getting those clams in, some team members have to leave in order to get more clams. So you're almost never in this four person situation. So I think that there's just more room to breathe. There's more places to play make. There's more ways to get in. And it makes for fascinating gameplay to watch and also to engage in. So I'm going to be interested as to whether we do see changes out of these teams. If that heavy perhaps changes to an edit or something along those lines, but we are going to get the chance. Maybe not, because I'm seeing Icy Anchor has that 7-star heavy. So perhaps they are just all about that heavy life as we're seeing here. We do see a switch onto the machine, though. I'm not quite sure we saw that before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, machine is not something we see super often, since he got that pretty harsh nerf and hasn't been well since. But so far, I'm interested to see the double bucket setup. Bucket's pretty good, but we see right here Icy Anchor getting attacked by several people right there, but Hyper Laser does manage to get the pick, trying to aggro also on their plat, but does get punished. So pretty even spots right now. Piggle trying to push up, does get the pen. Pretty good hit for them, actually. And this could be the opportunity to give Fire Hazard a chance into this game. But right now, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen from it, as all the members of Chunky Milk are back into their spawn, at least, trying to push into that plat, Sasu.
Yeah, I'm kind of not surprised that they didn't get much from that push, because they were able to get that pen, and then you see they have paid them back in spades with the wipeout, but ultimately everyone was coolered, so they were back like nothing happened. And speaking of cooler, yet another one coming out here, and along with that bucket, they are in the perfect place to score. And look at their clam economy. It is a wonder that they don't have a ball yet, and just as I say that, they finally sort of get that together, make the ball, bust it open, down to 62. They have way more clams to their name. You see that Brella themselves just has a lot, but they do go down. Gaming gonna get that other one in, and they have essentially gone down to a delayed wipeout here. So Fire Hazard moving up, but one thing we're talking about how much we liked this map at the start of the game, and I think one of the reasons why, because it's so big, which can be a little bit difficult in zones, when it comes to clams, that means that even if you wipe out, you don't necessarily have the other team in your backyard as you're respawning. So we see both of these teams in mid trying to fight for control, and ultimately this next push.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way that Chunky Milk is playing their advantages and disadvantage. That hammer throw, getting that mini there, really good pick from them, but so far it's been so even. But even when it's even, we still see the advantage going to Chunky Milk, as they kind of just made their way back in here after a wipeout. And beautiful shot by that Inkjet, getting one, trying to get another there, but 3 down on the side of Fire Hazard. This could be a knockout on their side if they are able to get the clams, which they are, and that is it for this set. What a game, Sasu. What are you thinking after that pretty dominant game, honestly?
I'm thinking that the Brella stocks are up. I love definitely seeing more Brella here. I think that we saw some really fantastic just plays by them and that Inkjet, and I think every single one of the team members did a really good job of just securing their picks, doing exactly what it is that they needed to do, and I think that Chunky Milk won this in pretty convincing fashion. If I'm not mistaken, Fire Hazard is slightly higher on the seed. I think Chunky Milk is the 5th seed to Fire Hazard's 4th, but Fire Hazard has also had a bit of a difficult run so far in this FLUTI, so I think Chunky Milk definitely a good job to them, and maybe Fire Hazard a bit of an off day for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Chunky Milk going currently 4-0 to Fire Hazard's 0-4. A little bit off and unexpected, but like you said, you never know when someone might be having an off day. Just might not be the time for them or something like that. Maybe something happened. You never know. But still, really good games. And we will be going to our next set soon. Do not go. It's non-stop action here with Fast FLUTI. You don't want to miss it. Hello, welcome back to FLUTI 7. We are here with our round 5 match with Swords Dance versus Gaia. Really excited for this set. It seems like it's going to be a really good one as we have two very talented teams right here, and I'm pretty happy with the maps and modes that we got here. Sasu, how are you feeling about this set?
I love that you're like, well, I'm happy as though like you're going to be the one playing, but honestly, me too. I'm just like,
I'm like living vicariously. I'm living vicariously.
Yes, and especially because I know some of these members. I have them in my thoughts while I'm looking at these map modes. I think that starting off with Scorched Clams, that's pretty standard. I think getting up that ramp, obviously, for your push to the basket, going to be super tough. So we're gonna see how that suits both of these teams into, of course, Tower Hagglefish, which I'm not super happy about. I think Tower Haggle can just feel so terrible if you're not able to contest that second checkpoint. Going into the third, it just kind of feels like you're at a loss at that point. One of the most snowbally tower maps, if anything. And if we do get to that third game, we'll be looking at what I think is a really good edit map in that zones Mahi. So I think I'm overall happy with these. I know that Gaia tends to run a rapid, so we'll see how that works out for them here in this set.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see. Well, we don't see the rapid actually. We're going to have that pen-to-pen interaction. Looking at these comps, I am a big fan. We're going to see so much aggression out of Swords Dance. Maybe that's what prompted the name, because we have that double sword comp right there with that decav and that wiper. We know we're going to have a lot of action going in. One player down on the side of Gaia, but we do have that crab coming out to try to kind of solidify things, prevent any funny business from happening, as both sides are coolered and getting ready to have this action happen as PETA is going around the left great, Sasu.
Yes, but Sencon, very watchful. They are looking at them on the right, and Ambition is going to pop that Kraken to make sure that they don't finish off that push. And Skaboop here getting a really critical pick into the zip. They are zipping and they get punished for it now, but while they've been dealing with that, you see Gaia has moved up on the right side, and they are in prime position to get that basket open.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the hammer throw though, halting any push that they might have there, as it did get two off of that crab. This gives Swords Dance a position to get in here, but maybe it won't. Maybe we will see a pretty good push here, as we're already to 60, more clams coming in. Hopefully they have the clam economy going for them that they can get more. If not, this is already a pretty good position, but 2 members down for Swords Dance, so this will probably be it for them for the moment, as Gaia coming back in trying to get a position started for them. But we do see that wiper kind of sharking, trying to keep people back, but does get punished. It might have given their team the chance to get back in there, but 2 members down on Swords Dance and the Kraken in their spawn. This looks prime position for them to actually get some clams on the board, which it looks like they are.
Yes, but they're going to have to be careful here. 2 of their members have gone down, and one thing about Scorched Gorge is that because of how compact it is, if you wipe, as we saw with that initial push, when you wipe, the other team has the time to just run straight at your basket and bust it straight open. So really good job from Gaia there, making sure that they didn't overextend and lose all of their players in that push. Devade here gonna chip everyone out with that crab, but just one member going down. They're gonna try and maneuver out of there, save that that clam that you see there, that power clam, and I think Ambition here gonna try and see what they can do with this Kraken. Not quite gonna work for them here. They put out a wall to stay safe, and they do so. I think they're just kind of breaking the ankles before getting that pick. So a little bit of back and forth here. I think that both of these teams seem to be struggling to really score on the other basket.
Yeah, but hopefully position going here, as Ambition really pushed up like we were talking about. getting 2 picks, hopefully giving their team the opportunity as they are able to score on the side of Gaia. They still need a few more clams, and with Bronze pushed up here on that pencil, trying to keep people back, but Jumps coming in, keeping that push going, and it looks like potential lead shift, but I do not expect it to happen. Wait, actually no, Ambition coming in here, being the hero, getting those few clams in, and we do get a lead shift, but not by much. This could be anyone's game here, as this game has been so close so far, Sasu.
I'd say that's almost the opposite of a commentator's curse. Like something positive came out of that call there. But you see, ultimately, one of the members does go down. Devade just being knocked down by that hammer. And Whack is like a dog with a bone. Absolutely knifing at the members of Gaia. Gets yet another pick. Just going to hang out there in that bubble for a little bit of time. Try to contest Sencon, but not without Devade getting that lick back there. And Zencon getting that pick as well with the cooler out for their teammates. So I think that Gaia's in a really fantastic place. They just have to play it very smart and stay patient because we have 37 seconds left in the game. And they're right now playing a bit of defense. They could go into an offensive mode, but that's all about their strategy here, and I think it's working out well for them. We're sub 30 seconds, and they're in a good position, but everything can change here on Scorchforge.
Yeah, I love the aggression coming out of Sword Stance, but Gaia doing such a good job just preventing any of that aggression while also providing some of their own. Looks like overtime is going to be really precarious here for Sword Stance as they are pushed all the way back, and their only power clam online besides that pity has just been taken down. Is only that one member. They need that Hail Mary. They pick up the power clam, but they do go down and hammer. I do not see anything happening as Gaia does open the barrier, taking that game 1 right there.
Yeah.
What a game for us. I loved how even it was, but looks like Gaia really just got their momentum together and knew exactly how to counter Sword Stance. What do you think, Sasu?
Yeah, I think that took a lot of organization and waiting. I think Sencon there on that back line really did a good job of getting the picks that they needed for the team, and ultimately just a lot of coordination. We saw a few members, at least from what I know of Gaia, a little bit on weapons. Sometimes you see Sencon on that pen, but I know that they prefer that rapid that I was mentioning before. I think Luckio was on 96, which they're used to, and Devade on Splash instead of dualies. Devade is a dualie specialist, but clearly it worked out for them. They got the game, and I think that ultimately Sword Stance, from what I can see, not having the strongest run for them. They have yet to take a set, so now that we are at match point, it is going to be up to them to prove that they deserve to be in Division S and take this game off of Gaia.
Yeah, we're seeing really good things from Sword Stance. I think at just some point it has to come together, but I do like the kit changes here with that bubble and that booyah, kind of giving them some positioning and some options to take space. But right now we're seeing Ambition pushing up this left flank, taking a lot of eyes from the members of Sword Stance, as that crab also being popped, trying to push people back, but Walk and a Walk on that tower doing a great job, especially with Color, who's providing a lot of pressure on that PC, putting that bubbler behind as the Kraken comes out, getting 1. They are able to clear that checkpoint and not go down, but trying to get a fight as they are forced to actually back up here with a lot of pressure coming out.
Yes, that second checkpoint can be a bit of a demon. We all know that when it comes to Hagglefish Tower, it is by far the hardest checkpoint to break. And I think that Gaia took advantage of that and essentially just jumped them there. But you see Sencon being forced off of the tower, Devade helping and assisting that top right being cleared. And that is going to be the lead lost for Sword Stance as they keep going. And I'm here to argue, if they are able to break this second checkpoint, it is just not looking good for Sword Stance. Once they leave that top right, it's going to be tough for them to take it back, and this is exactly why. They do take it back in commanding fashion.
Yeah, that checkpoint was cleared, and that is the absolute worst checkpoint. I think you were talking about it earlier. If you get past it, it's kind of just your game. You need the miracle, but Walk getting one member, Sencon, with that hammer, that could be really big as they start pushing up here. They need a lot of specials online, which they have with that bubbler and that booyah. Color coming in on that top right position, setting up that booyah. Bronze getting that one pick. Kraken coming out to try to combat the tower, but all the members are having that eyes on Ambition on that Kraken, making sure they can't really do much. And we were just talking about how hard this checkpoint was to break, but look at this. Both teams have broken this checkpoint, and Swords Dance even managed to take the lead here, trying to keep everyone backed up as it's even numbers on both sides, and they keep pushing the tower for more points, Sasu.
That's crazy. I thought we might see a stop here, but the fact that they were able to do that is insane, and you have Skaboop getting that nasty pick, but ultimately 3 members down on Gaia is going to make it so that Swords Dance can just sort of mosey on to that third checkpoint. I believe they're working on it, and now Gaia is on the back foot. This is so hard to defend from, and with this bubble, I think that is just going to be it for this game, and Swords Dance does take the second game, pushing us to a game 3. What a back and forth set. I think ultimately it just came to who could really decisively break through that second checkpoint, I'd argue.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so different from how we normally see that map played, I feel like. Because normally it's so long, it's so drawn out, they barely get through the second checkpoint, and it's always like overtime by 1 point that one team wins. But no, that was such a good game. I loved how Swords Dance was able to come back, because that was such a big problem in game 1. They kind of just lost the lead and had a hard time getting anything done after that, but that aggression that they have with those 2 swords really benefited them on that game. But going into this next map, it's Zones Mahi. Everyone's played this. Everyone knows it, for good or for bad. You won't meet a comp player who's not familiar with this map mode. But looking at it, how do you think they will fare on this map, I guess? Like, any comp changes that you might predict before we see it?
I'm hoping that Devade switches either back onto Doolies or onto that Brella, actually. I know that he is an avid Dooley player, but gonna be a switch onto those Twinkle Doolies, the one with the bubble. So that is definitely an interesting change, and I think that PETA maybe changed over to the Sticker Stamper away from the Zip. So, of course, that double sword is still going to be in play, but things are going to be a little bit less snowbally, hopefully, and a little bit more evenly matched. So, right off the top, Swords Dance does get the picks that they need. 3 of their members going down, so Color very wisely going to get out of there and give the zone to Gaia. So they don't want to get lucked out. They're going to have to be careful, but luckily for them, Gaia's not running a lot of AoE, so this is going to be a bit of an evenly matched hold, I think.
Yeah, with only 1 player left on the side of Gaia, though, Sencon on that pencil, forced to back up here. Walk trying to get something happening with that hammer, but unfortunately is punished before they're able to throw it. Ambition coming in with that Kraken. They've been so disastrous with it, but unfortunately they do fall in the water. Such a tricky, slippery special that is a Kraken. But Gaia is able to get in here, but not before Swords Dance was able to take the lead on their side. And 2 members once again down on the side of Gaia, so all the members are pushing up on Swords Dance again with that booyah ready. Walk in their base, kind of pushing everyone far back. Looks like this is going to be a potentially good hold unless Gaia has something to say about it, Sasu.
And now that one of the teams has hit that 60-point mark, the water level is going to drop, putting us in a whole another place, sort of. Now there's a lot more space for these teams to play make. So down to 30 goes Swords Dance. Skaboop going to get clocked by that Booyah Bomb right now, and I think that's Luckio there. Going to get that pick with the Kraken, but Krakens can't paint, and right now Gaia needs paint, and they achieve it accordingly. They lose it once again, but ultimately it's all about stopping the bleeding before you can get that hold. So really good job getting this wipeout out of Gaia as they move forward to see if they can keep this zone down to a knockout.
Yeah, absolutely. They will have the points going here, but same thing could happen like what happened with Sword Stance. They got a really good punish on the side of Gaia, which is why they got down to 9 points. And getting to halfway right now, they already punished PETA on that sword, and Color's trying to come in with that bubbler. They are able to get zone here, but they still have a presence in mid. With that Kraken coming out, Rock trying to maneuver around it, is avoiding it, fighting Devade on those dualies, trying to get that pick, but Devade doing really well avoiding all of that. Unfortunately, though, the last two members besides Devade are pushed far back into their spawn, so they are not able to get anything off of that, as Sircom barely jumps out there, Sasu.
Yes, that was like watching someone dodge bullets in the Matrix, but so far we are down to the single digits, so Gaia really gonna need to get the zone, and they do so accordingly. Two of those members gonna go down. It's just gonna be, I think, Skaboop there and Sencon. Devade coming out of that spawn, but ultimately gonna lose to PETA, and PETA gonna lose that aura there. But honestly, I'd say Sword Dance, their penalty is deceptively low, so Gaia's gonna have to jump into that zone and take it soon if they ever hope to get this win. And I think Luckio popping this Kraken is really going to help them to take that. But with three of their members down, it's just Luckio. I think that might be it for Gaia. Swords Dance gonna take this third game and the entire set.
Yeah, really good comeback from Sword Stance there. Kind of turned the tides after that game one. I loved their constant aggression, and it kind of just felt like they won a lot of their fights, but both teams did amazing and gave us a really, really good set to end our round 5 on. But before we finish everything up, Sasu, what do you think about that?
I mean, it was kind of a nail biter. I think that sometimes we saw Sword Stance kind of pushed up into their own plat, but like I said, a lot of people like to come to particularly Mahi with a lot of AoE so that they can check those drops, make things really difficult to get into mid. Both of these teams didn't necessarily have so much AoE, so it was just kind of mechs and skill, and both of these teams are in Div S for a reason, but unfortunately a little bit harder for Gaia to get out of their spawn.
Absolutely, but they gave us a really, really good match to unfortunately end our commentary block for us, Sasu. So next up, we are going to have a lot of really good commentators and even better games as we go into finals. But before we lead out, Sasu, where can the lovely people at home find you?
Well, the lovely people, and not so lovely, I know some of y'all are nasty, so shout out to y'all too. But if you want to keep up with me, you can find me at Sasu in Your Pants. That's SASUIN, the letters UR Pants, and I'm basically on any social media, and if you look that up, you should find me. And also you can find me at Big Dapple, which I believe is the maybe the 21st of February, so I will probably be there as well. But I know a lot of you guys, you were like, where's Mari? It's been so long. Mari, for all of those people who have been missing you so much, where can they keep up with you?
You can keep up with me at Mari Time on any of the socials. 2 eyes after that first R, and I love when anyone keeps up with me. I love seeing all the familiar faces and non-familiar faces that this community has to offer. I've been a little bit dead recently, so I actually don't know much that's been going on recently. But you can also find me at Anarchy Nova. I probably won't be at the next, but I'm a frequent flyer there. So if you see me, please say hi. But Sasu, It's been wonderful commentating with you, and Wings, you have been a lovely streamer, and I'm so grateful that I've had this chance to have this block with you guys.
And I'm grateful that we were able to watch these great games. But for those of you who are like, oh no, there are still more great games. So don't you go anywhere. Maybe get a little bit of a snack, but be quick about it because we'll be right back with more FLUTI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dapple Productions. We are coming at you live with the Div S finals brackets here on Dapple Productions for FLUTI. My name is Carney. You might have heard me on the mic before, and I am joined by my wonderful co-commentator Moku. How are we doing tonight? Are we hyped?
We are so hyped here, Carney! I'm ready for a tournament! FLUTI is going great so far, and I can't wait to see even more battles! How are you feeling about this?
I am honestly quite excited to be back on the mic now that all of the stressful tourist season up here in Vermont is completely done and over with. But enough about that. It is time. It is time to see these teams push to the FLUTI champions of their quote-unquote division, I guess that you could say. First up, we have our best of 3 round 1 for our bracket, King versus Chunky Milk. The map mode list is laid out in front of us, and what are we thinking about it?
Tower control on Hagglefish is the bread and butter of Splatoon comp, as we're getting right into it. Equal footing for both teams. All they have to rely on is their skill. So let's see what we've got. We've got Balanced Comp over here, and we've got Dynamo Roller, which benefits greatly from the new update.
Absolutely. Balanced comp on the side of King with a bit of a wild one here, as Chunky Milk is bringing out that double roller comp. Like you said, the Dynamo greatly benefiting from this new update alongside the carbon roller, so we're going to expect to see a lot of sharking, if I am correct. We see Ultra here on that Dynamo in a bit of a roller battle here on that left side. Nobody has really gotten control of the tower yet, but that may change as King's ink is going to be spreading all over mid as they hop on tower.
Map control going to King, like you said, and getting a few points on the board, losing tower, but that's alright because there's still enough time for everybody to have a shot at the tower as one goes down on the side of King. Or I'm sorry, Chunky Milk.
Yeah, we do see that they are probably going to have sodas up and running as soon as possible, and as I said that the Sippies are out as Ultra ends up getting a double on that Dynamo. King ends up going 3 down as Chunky Milk ends up taking the tower, and with more Sippies on the way from Chunky Milk, we see it is thrown in front of that tower as we head to that first checkpoint. Now this is quite the pivotal moment here, because as soon as we're past that first check, it is quite easy to get into that spawn, so expect to see some gameplay here up on that canopy.
Indeed, this is where all the action happens, at the canopy and at this little elbow right here on your left side. This is where it starts snowballing, but we have GG strikes at the ready here, not taking anybody out with them, but it was a fair shot. GG Booyah Bomb coming out, and that gets the job done.
Gets the job done, but the job still isn't over yet, because that Dynamo Ultra is doing a really good job of staying alive for their team to jump in. Not only staying alive, but also putting out the Sippies for their team to be able to respawn. We see now that Trizuka is coming out. They're past check 3, and it's looking like they are going to be taking that knockout right from underneath King's belt. What an incredible play that we saw there.
Indeed it was, Carney. King did their best, but Chunky Milk sweeping the game. Excellent work, both teams so far.
Okay, so actually, color oops. We're all colorblind here over here at Dapple Productions. King actually is the one who won the first game there. So kudos to King.
Kudos to King. Sorry about that. But the set's still young. Chunky Milk still has a chance to surprise us.
Absolutely. And they, I feel like, had a good little bit there in the beginning. It was just the pivotal moment there is to kill the Dynamo. And I know it's like kind of a pain, especially when that Dynamo is powered up with the Super Sippies underneath Canopy. But the Dynamo being alive and being able to stay that anchor point for the jumps to come in, I feel like is really what knocked that match out of the park for King. But let's see for Clam Blitz now. Scorch Gorge Clams, that might not work as well, as we are going into match point already, because like we said, best of 3.
I'm seeing a mini on the other team and an NZAP coming out here. Do you see any other comp changes?
I am not really seeing much beside what you pointed out, because King is still on that comp from last game here. And like I was saying, that strategy that they had last time maybe might not work so well, because the name of the game here is Clams, because of course this is a Clam Blitz match. And I feel like with the Carbon specifically, as I say that, the Carbon goes down. With the Carbon specifically, I feel like King is going to have a little bit of an easier time getting clams than Chunky Milk is, but what are your thoughts on that?
Chunky Milk might have a chance at it, because that hammer is going to serve them well, even though they didn't get anybody gaming. Going down to Ultra, I was going to say that Chunky Milk has a Brella on their side too. Brellas are not to be trifled with, especially if you have a brush. I don't see any brushes.
Said true from the brush main on the mic. Next to me, we see those triple ink strikes going out from Chunky Milk. They have control of a power clam as King does end up going 3 down. It is now Chunky Milk's time to shine. We see that hammer come out, like you said, trying to get that shield down, but unfortunately the hammer does end up going down. And the Trizuka here trying to get some sort of pick, but not really finding much. Chunky Milk unable to push forward, but they do have 2 power clams to their name, which is plenty more than King currently has. And it takes 2 power clams to get that really, really good, strong opening push that we want to see in these Clam Blitz matches.
Indeed, and while Chunky Milk had plenty of... Wait, they're scheming. One of them's jumping, I thought. But, I'm going down. I was watching Chunky Milk. I thought they were scheming, but there's a whole massacre happening at the basket as King gets points on the board.
Points on the board, and it's looking like they're trying to jump in for more points, but Chunky Milk is able to keep their basket closed, even though they did end up going 3 down. But Soren here, just on the plat, collecting clams like nobody's business, looking like they're gonna go for a second one, and a second power clam has, in fact, hit the basket, as King is holding that platform really, really nicely. The clams just keep coming non-stop, and with those sippies up and running, it is looking like they're going to continue. The clams will continue until morale improves for Chunky Milk.
2 of them going down on the side of Chunky Milk, and you're absolutely right. They had a great push on the side of King earlier, because I was thinking that Brawler was going to help them out. But wait a minute! And a twist! 2 going down to Hyper Laser out here on the roller as well. I think they're about to make a comeback.
I think so too. If that pencil can hold out for long enough, unfortunately it does not seem like they were going to hold out for long enough here, as we see that roller down in that area, just really getting it handed to him, I believe, by that Brella. But we can see the clam differential here is very, very thin. Chunky Milk has a power clam and 1 other clam to their name, while King did just end up dropping most of their power clams, 2 down on either side now. It is still anybody's game, less than 90 seconds on the clock. I have seen insane comebacks before, and I am hoping that this was going to be one of them.
This is a very nice fight between the Brella and the NZAB, both of them going down, but the Brella winning that fight. I'm sorry, that's Ultra. So we've got map control on the side of Chunky Milk. One of them's got a ball, but it seems as though somebody has achieved Flora. Oh, Aura. I was going to say Flora for a minute.
Flora.
Plants.
Ooh. It is definitely looking like Soren is on the roll here, getting a double kill in quick succession as Ultra is underneath that basket now, trying to build a clam. as one tends to do. With the amount of time that's left on this clock, it needs to be now or never for Chunky Milk. 3 do end up going down on King, but they need to build a power clam and fast. They are at 0 clams at the moment with only 30 seconds left on the clock. They need a clam now in order to have a shot of winning this match and moving forward in the bracket.
Indeed, the pencil getting 2 people and Ultra also achieving a flow state out here with the Dynamo going down in base. Hyper Laser going for it. This is their final shot. 2 of them going down. If they want to have points at all on the board, much less getting the lead. And there it is! There it is! Them getting it in! I think they're scheming. Wait!
Ooh, they are close. They are close. 42 to 31. It could be a clutch here. Oh no!
So close.
Oh. With an unfortunately timed wipeout, Chunky Milk is wiped out of the Div S bracket. But they had a chance! They had a chance! If they could have gotten a couple of more clams in there, they could have swung in and forced a game 3 on King. But man, what an incredible last minute push, because like you saw, they had 0 points on the board until overtime, and going from 100 to 40, I think it was 41 or something similar in overtime is nuts. That's crazy.
That is nuts. GG's both teams, and Chunky Milk did in fact have the potential to win this match. I think what was going on, from my perspective, Chunky Milk had the ink focus. They always had map control, but King had the what's the word? They had the firepower. I say that knowing that they had rollers on the other team, but it seemed like they were focused more on the quality of their spread and their splats, while Chunky Milk was focused on quantity.
I 100% agree with you, yeah. I feel like during those couple of matches, while Chunky Milk could have had it at any time, they could have turned the tides, dare I say, King really just, I feel like, had more of like a team synergy, which was able to translate really well into those really neatly organized pushes that we saw before. But we've got plenty of more for that coming up here after the break. Let's take it over to a break now. Get some sippies, get a snack if you want, because we will be right back.
Drink water. Welcome back to FLUTI number 7. My name is Moku, and I am joined by the lovely Carney. So how are you feeling about this? We got Blank Z versus Daydreaming on Zones Cargo.
It is in. well, its full legal name is Shipshape Cargo Co. So like you weren't technically wrong. You weren't technically wrong. I am feeling very good. We have moved on from the BO3 to BO5 now, baby. That means these teams will have to win 3 out of the 5 sets that you see on screen in order to move on into the bracket. And speaking of the bracket, we are in round 2 of the bracket, aka the semis. So whoever wins this bad boy will be moving on up into the world to the finals. So it's a big step. It's a big step, and these two teams I feel like are going to be duking it out as hard as they possibly can.
Indeed. Blank Z and Daydreaming are really powerful. I'm very familiar with Blank Z because I've commentated them before, and I'm seeing in their roster they have their backline, but other than that, everybody else is really familiar to me, and I can't wait to see how they pair up against, or how they match up against Daydreaming.
Absolutely. Now, these two teams do have a little bit of a seed disparity, with Daydreaming being our number 2 seed for our Div S on FLUTI, and Blank Z being seed number 10. But don't let that 10 fool you. Blank Z has been doing a really good job thus far, and we'll see how good of a job they do against the other team here on, like you said, Shipshape Cargo Co. Splat Zones for our very first map. Now, let's take a look at these loadouts here. We can see that we have a couple of really interesting picks. I'm specifically noting down the Tetras as well as that Octobrush.
I'm also noting the Octobrush and the Heavy Edit, and both of them making a beeline for the zone as they're off to the races. We're seeing equal map control for both sides, and with Blank Z getting the zone first and working for a lockout.
Absolutely. We can see one down on either side right now as Blank Z is, again, in control of the zone. 2 down on Daydreaming. We see that Blaster just chasing the members of Daydreaming all the way back to spawn now. Blank Z has a really good control over zone, and they are maintaining it as much as they possibly can. Daydreaming has not been able to get a cap of the zone thus far, and that does not seem like it's going to be anytime soon.
Indeed, while Daydreaming has the map control, Blank Z has the manpower, the push, and the backliner to keep watch over the battlefield right now. They actually have a couple backlines if you consider that the Blaster, not the Brush, but the Blaster, not only great for poking, but also great as a backline too. I've seen that happen before. But before I get carried away with that, it seems as though Blank Z is still keeping a massive lead here, Carney.
Absolutely, but they do end up going 2 down in the moment, which gives Daydreaming some time to go in and swoop the zone out of their control if they can swing it. But with a couple of seconds left on that clock, a knockout is in the cards for Daydreaming as Blank Z goes 0 to 100. Not a single time was the zone given up to Daydreaming, which is very impressive considering that we are playing on ship-shaped zones. And that would be less impressive, say, if we saw that Daydreaming was being completely locked out, but they did get back in the zone quite a few times.
They did, and it's really impressive. It's really impressive considering that, seed differences aside, Daydreaming has Red Shell, who is a very well-known brush main, and since it's going to be clams, do you think Red Shell could switch over to, like, Ink Brush, Nouveau, or Vanilla Ink Brush?
I'd say it's definitely a possibility, especially considering we're going on to museum clams. I feel like the change to a quicker brush is definitely in the cards. Like I said, like, especially because, you know, we all know Museum. Do I need to explain about, like, the funny box, or, like, the ramp, or anything like that? Like, you mentioned like Haggle Tower being one of the bread and butters of, like, the Splatoon competitive community nowadays, but may I present to you the Clam Blitz option, and that is Museum de Alfonsino clams, because I feel like I can never escape this map mode.
We really can't escape this map and mode. I go into it on open, I go into it on tournaments, and it's a hit and miss for me because of how equal footing it is for both teams. Like, some days I'm gonna win on it, some days I'm just not. Meanwhile, I have my maps and modes where I can always count on them to help me out. But let's see how the two of them fare on this map and mode. Red Shell switched over to Viper. Okay, bold choice.
Interesting! Like you said, we have swapped over to Viper here. Red Shell completely choosing to forego the brush entirely in favor of the Ultra Stamp, I feel like, but not a single switch up from Blank Z either. We can see that they are still keeping with the status quo, and that might be pretty helpful for them, especially with those Tetra Dualies, because while Tetra Dualies I feel like are more helpful on zones, that Reef Slider can be deadly on a map like this.
That was a mid-air splat, and Daydreaming is keeping very good defense and got their basket broken.
Yeah, very quick basket break, but usually if you want to start pushing lead, you want to get that double power clam in the basket. So Daydreaming with a clam already at their disposal and a stamp in the back pocket of Red Shell. I'm expecting to see a double clam play here if they can manage it. Ooh!
Red Shell going down to dualies as Multi is just standing on business out here, getting 3 as Mr. Boss goes down, and they might be getting another 20 points on the board or more.
Just throwing in those clams into the basket as they jump in unabated completely by the fact that they keep going down. The clams will continue until morale improves, and with a Blank Z looking like the push is going to be up. What an incredible second push, because we saw just the dualies went in, got several kills, Multi there, just a really excellent dualie plays. Red Shell does end up getting a kill on those dualies, and they do have 2 clams to their name, but two power clams is not enough to beat Blank Z's 52 points.
Indeed, you're right. So if they're going to make a push, they're going to have to find a way to win it. But they're going right over there. They threw the Booyah Bomb right over there to clear out their base.
I don't even know what happened there. I was focused on Daydreaming with the triple clam takedown, the specials, and then all of a sudden Blank Z threw 2 power clams into that basket like nobody's business. And now we see Blank Z does have 2 end up going down now. Red Shell bringing out that stamp, looking to try and get a kill, does end up getting the kill, picks up the power clam, and is in a battle with Multi over on the ramp, does end up going down, and Daydreaming once again has their push completely shut out!
Indeed they do, and like I said, if they're gonna make a push, they're gonna have to go in now and find a way to sustain it, not get distracted by any auto bombs, finally getting some points on the board for Daydreaming.
Absolutely, just really, really insane plays on both of these teams now. We see a very, very narrow miss. That bomb just...
How?
Wow! I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure how that pencil survived that splat bomb, but it did, and it smartly jumped back to spawn with a power clam in their possession. Now, 80-31 is a pretty high point differential, but Daydreaming still might have this in the bag. We see Red Shell here on that stamp going forward, trying to get some picks, but it seems like that basket area is not really in control here. Blank Z had Multi go behind with the Reef Slider, but Daydreaming does manage to get a power clam and then a couple other clams in as well, but it is probably not a good idea to go in right now, as we can see that Blank Sea has control of their platform area. Once again, the point differential is slowly but surely getting narrower and narrower. With a minute left on the clock, Daydreaming has to clutch up and get this thing going.
In my opinion, I think Daydreaming would definitely benefit from using a special that would make Blank Z move away from their spawns, because they are in very defensive positions, and yet Blank Z is scheming as they just go right behind them.
You really hate to see it if you're Blank Z, but with 3 down on that side, it is now a time for Daydreaming to move forward with all the clams that they have at their disposal. 2 power clams plus an extra couple, plus that pity clam that they are about to get right now makes a grand total of 3, almost 4 clams, as Red Shell goes in, does end up getting a pick on a member of Blank Z, but ends up going down in the process now. As we see here, overtime is going to start, and they need to act fast and carefully at that, because now it is time to move it or lose it. We see those specials coming out, and it's not looking good.
Oh no, it's not, and one of them getting their jumps camped by
Ooh.
Yoshi. And that is the set for Blank Z.
No, it is not the set.
Oh,
It is not the set.
Never mind. I thought it was best
It's
of
okay.
3. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry,
We're on best of 5. This next game is match point.
I have to make sure y'all are on your top. Anyone, I'm dyslexic.
It's
Anyone,
okay.
I'm
It's okay.
dyslexic. Oops.
Oh God.
That's a game, I meant.
It's all right. It's all right.
Daydreaming,
Wow.
you have a little bit more time to reverse sweep. Blank Z does have a lot of defense on them, though.
And honestly, like our guys in the Twitch chat are saying, that was just plain like trolling at the end there.
Yeah.
Like it was rough out there for the orange for the orange ink. Just I feel like Blank Z had a really good, just honestly they had like a vice grip on the control of mid. They let it slip a couple of times, but every single time they let it slip, they would just easily take it back from Daydreaming, either with a sneaky power clam into the basket or just straight up going behind them.
This is so true. I completely agree with you 100%. And while I have my theories, I'm going to save them for the end of the set. Right now, I think Daydreaming, going forward, could benefit from having some specials or a weapon that can make them move. And I think I know one weapon that has Killer Whale. Red Shell. Let's see what we got. Red Shell is on the mini.
The mini?
Okay. The mini?
The mini?
Game? Okay, that could work.
So we've moved from one stamp weapon to another. Red Shell going from Brush to Viper to Mini now. And I do want to point out that we have a 52 gal in the mix, so your dreams of a killer whale are still alive and well here. As we can see D-Pad over here just really threatening that ramp, getting a nice killer whale in as Daydreaming takes the lead. They know what they are doing. Just immediately going over to that checkpoint and then stamp throw! The stamp throw!
That was nasty. Going down. Did you see that aim? That wasn't even. That was pure intuition at that point. Because how did you see them over there? We've got a fight for mid right now. As Daydreaming is fighting to get their control back.
That stamp throw was. Oh my god! That is insane. Alright. That is crazy. Let's get right back into it. We see that we have the triple ink strikes in the back pocket. Do end up going down. 2 down on Daydreaming as that stamp throw gets another one. Blank Z is looking like they are going to try and push for that checkpoint to take what Daydreaming could not take from them, and they do end up popping that check as well as a triple strike and a stamp combo. Blank Z going for the win. They are going straight into enemy territory now, diving in. 27-62, losses on both sides. It is getting insane out here.
It is, and Daydreaming is losing it right now. They're losing their grip on the control. They just need to find a way to defend and push together. They just need a miracle push if they want to take this back.
Absolutely, but with the members of Blank Z retreating, it is now time for Daydreaming to go in and try and take control of that zone, but Yushi from behind ends up going in and trying to dive that Rainmaker right before it resets into mid. Now Benji is going to be next to, or Benny is going to be right next to that Rainmaker. They do end up getting the pop as Red Shell tosses that bad boy and gets a pick as well. Like you said, this is just straight intuition on these stamp throws here.
Indeed, that's all you need to have when you're using stamp, as they finally get that checkpoint that they needed in the beginning, and their push is still alive, as they can just move in like a swarm of bees like Blank Z has been doing. They have a shot at turning this around, Carney.
They do indeed, and with 2 down on either side, it's looking like anybody's game now as we are looking to try and get a pop on that Rainmaker. The Sippies are active, however, but it is not looking good for Daydreaming here, as it seems like they are going down slowly but surely, but not before a double from the pencil!
That was a great double from the pencil, and huge, because if you've got size advantage, you can do a lot of going down, and that Rainmaker carrier's in their sights, but that they just reset the Rainmaker, but we've got some flow aura in play.
Absolutely. Blank Z is still in the lead here. 14-60, 90 seconds left on the clock now as we are moving forward with the push. Daydreaming looking to try and get something going once again, but Multi is fighting from behind. Multi does end up going down as the Rainmaker is being protected by Red Shell. On that mini, they do end up going down to a nasty stamp throw yet again. It is just a stamp-a-palooza out here as that pop does end up getting down most of the members of Daydreaming. Blank Z has the Rainmaker in their possession with less than a minute left on the clock. All they have to do is hold it.
They're pulling a Riptide, aren't they? Okay, never mind, they're not. I was going to say, if they were going to pull a humpback on us, that would have been... But... this is a pretty good holding spot. Ooh, get inside. Stamper. Okay, Red Shell.
Some people, I feel like, are just Ultra Stamp mains, and Red Shell seems to be one of them. That mini is absolutely nasty! And now, Blank Z has the tables turned on them!
They're going for it. Oh, no, nearly got it. Almost.
They are so close to getting that stamp, to getting that Rainmaker pop, but it does end up that Blank Z gets that pop instead. 2-3 down on Daydreaming now, and the Zimmy is the only one left, but with Blank Z grabbing that Rainmaker and making a run for it, they sweep Daydreaming off of their feet and out of the Div S semifinals. Welcome to Stamp Hell, because holy crap, that was some incredible gameplay that we saw from both of those teams.
GG's both teams. That is the set for Blank Z. Blank Z, you saw the way that they were moving. They were moving like a swarm of bees every single round of this game. It was enough to take Daydreaming just off guard. Daydreaming had fought their hearts out, but like I just said, Blank Z just fights like a swarm of bees. You mess with one of them, all 3 of them know your zip code, they are descending upon you. Incredible behavior, and with that means that Blank Z is going to be going to our Div S FLUTI 7 finals against King, who we saw in the first match of this block. But before that,
before the epic showdown that we have for you guys, let us take another quick break, get a sippy, get a snack, because we've got some incredible gameplay coming at you guys after both of these teams are ready. Hello everybody and welcome back to Fast FLUTI here on Dapple Productions. My name is Carney and I am coming at you live with the Division S Finals. We've got King, who we saw in the first round of our block, versus Blank Z, who we just got done commentating for you. And with both of these really incredible explosive gameplays, it is going to be absolutely wild. Now let's take a look at this map mode. Moku, what do we think of the spread? Because I have some very strong words about the spread.
One thing I can get behind is Umami's Zones being a good map, and I'm not the biggest fan of Clams and Barnacle and Dime, but I think the first map and mode and the second one are pretty standard. What are your thoughts on these?
I'd say pretty standard, like during the Splatoon tournament scene as a whole, but then I look at Museum D'Alfonsino Tower Control and I just go, huh, I forgot that's part of the Ludi map pool. No, it just kind of takes me off guard because, like, we don't really see much play of Museum D'Alfonsino Tower Control, I feel like. It's just not really something that happens.
Yeah, you really don't see that a whole lot. Usually you just see it as a zones map, if at all, here in these tournaments. But Clam Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy.
And
Is
we
that
see...
a Dynamo?
Yes, that is a Dynamo. King is going to be bringing back what they brought for their sets alongside Blank Z, bringing back what they were cooking up. And both of these teams are out of the game. Multi being the true Tetris main, going straight for that flank, looking to try and get some sort of distraction headed as the rest of Blank Z goes in, builds Clams. Now it is an absolute race for Clams in mid now, as we can see that King has more of the Clams in their economy, but Blank Z has the power Clam in their possession.
Indeed they do, and as there's a distraction here on the right street, we're seeing something cooking on the left. Hobna's got Clams, but wait a minute, they get their basket in and jump back, but their defense is immaculate.
Absolutely, two end up going down on King. They do have the lead.
Wait.
Yushi looking for a pin, looking for that basket, does end up whiffing it, which is unfortunate. Now Benny looking to maybe grab that power clam and save it from dying, but it's not looking good. King does end up going 3 down in the moment now as Blank Z is looking to move forward, gather clams, and try and get that push up and running. Now remember, you do usually need 2 power clams to get a pretty solid early lead in this match, but it seems like this specific map mode has everybody scrambling for clams.
This is so true, because you've got all this terrain and all this space as well. And I was gonna say, wait, they're scheming!
Woo!
That's the Blank Z that we know and love! King going in for it now that they have size advantage, but Blank Z meeting them at the fence, getting them, picking them off, but still managing to get dunked on here.
Yeah, they do end up having their barrier broken by a stray power clam, but that jump was immaculate, and you cannot deny it. 40-70 now is our lead differential. We've got less than 3 minutes left on the clock, which is a lot, but it's also not much at the same time. Anything could happen in this time. Now we see that the clams are getting built up and falling just as fast as they tend to do now. We see we're juggling clams a little bit on King's side here, but Blank Z still remains in the lead, and in multiple ways, because they do have more clams in play in their hands than King does currently. But it's just kind of looking like a stalemate in mid right now.
Indeed it is. Hobna on the fence, and with one person down on Blank Z, that still probably won't be enough for King, but King is looking to push in, as I was saying that, but area denial. Nice job with that splashdown.
Absolutely. Triple splashdown, especially on this map mode, in that spot can be absolutely deadly, and it proves so!
Oh! No way!
What was that? Can we...
Oh!
Hello?
That's
Dog, I was trying to commentate your sick play, and you go and knock out in, like, seconds?
That's how they are. That's why they're goated with the sauce. Both teams are goated, but I'm so familiar with Blank Z's game.
Oh my god. Dude, I was literally so hyped by that play that I accidentally disconnected my microphone. So anyways, that was insane. I'm speechless. I'm godsmacked, dare I say. That was...
Same!
It wasn't the fact that the jumps were hard to do. It wasn't the fact that it was like, they were, like, you know, being, like, pressured in, like, enemy territory or what have you. It was just the fact that they managed to get so many power claims so quickly in such quick succession that they just ended the game. They just said, no, this is our game now. We're taking this, and we're running with it.
This is what I mean when I say that Blank Z will move in like a swarm of bees. Because once they have a goal, you can't dodge them. You can try hiding underwater, but they're just gonna wait for you.
Great heavens. Now, I'm really curious to see, because we are moving on to tower control, which is objectively a much slower mode than Clam Blitz is, how that's going to work out for them. Because we saw how well King did during their tower control match, in that first little bit that we saw with us commentating. And I'm wondering maybe if we're going to see any sort of, like, comp switch, though I doubt it, considering that we've been running with, like, the same comps for the entire time that we've been playing here. But let's see how these two teams duke it out, because I'm really curious to see, especially on such an underplayed map mode like this.
And believe me, Benny's triple splashdown is going to matter so much here, as it usually does for tower. We're going to see Benny already taking up left side. Oh, getting a nice pick already.
A nice pick, or a nice 3 picks there, as we can see that Blank Z is already at the first check. They are in the lead past checkpoint 1, going towards that box, towards checkpoint 2. We see that Carbon just putting in the work there, does not end up getting that pick on Multi, and Multi is in the platform, which is not where you want to go if you are, or not where you want to be faced up against a Tetradoodly. Multi, I think, just did activate that flow, and we are past checkpoint 2 already. Less than a minute has started since this match began, and it is looking good for King. They are just getting absolutely steamrolled here.
And that was a nice flank on the side of King there, but getting found out and annihilated. Oh, wow. Yeah, this game goes to Blank Z. The set's still young, but they'll have to win about 3 times, you know, if they want to. Oh, wow.
The set is still young, but we're at match point already, with Blank Z demonstrating a nasty, just absolutely heinous, like, double matches in succession. But, man, I talked about, you know, tower control usually being a slower map, or like a slower mode than Clam Blitz, but who am I to say? What am I even here for? The actions speak for themselves.
That whole match was a snowball in and of itself. I don't even know how to analyze that, other than Blank Z moving as a singular unit. And while I don't doubt that all teams are coordinated, Blank Z happens to just make every team feel a little... Actually, no, that's not fair for me to say at all. They have the ability to catch everybody off guard, even the most coordinated teams, is what I should be saying. That sounds a little bit more fair, don't you think?
Yeah, I would agree. That does sound a lot more fair. I feel like the first picks of that game being basically the triple on the side of King is kind of, I feel like, what sealed the deal, because if you lose the first fight that badly, you do end up taking a massive hit to your morale, and it's really not easy, like, to come back from that. And I'm just really happy that King held out for as long as they did against, like, what seemed to be the unstoppable boulder that Blank Z was on that tower. I'm really hoping that we can get a couple of matches in for King to win. And speaking of matches, it's time to make it rain as we go on to our Rainmaker match point on Scorch Gorge, which, again, not as an under... Oh! Ooh!
We're seeing Wellstring. Wellstring is going to be helpful here. Because Wellstring has range. Wellstring has range, and we've got Ultra Stamp and Auto Bomb, I think it was. So that's going to count for more than they think here. But let's see, they get popped first. King gets popped first. They have map control, while Blank Z is ready to pounce. Ooh, one going down already. They were ready for this. Mostly going down. It's, oh, I think they might reverse sweep it. They might reverse sweep it here. Oh, never mind. They lose. I
do want to point out that we have had a comp switch on Blank C2. We are getting rid of the Junior in favor of the Splooshomatic. With that stamp, it is going to be kind of, I feel like, pivotal for this match. These comp switches have been. We can see that King is still in the lead. They are looking to get that checkpoint popped as soon as possible. That Wellstring is really putting in the work, being able to support the rest of their team as we get that Rainmaker through the checkpoint. And now, here comes the point in every single Rainmaker Scorch Gorge game that you hate so much to play through, and that is getting the Rainmaker the rest of the way. Rainmaker Scorch Gorge is a game about checkpoints, and with Blank Z 3 down, it is looking like they're not going to be able to get that checkpoint under their control.
Indeed, Soren's out here frontlining and carrying the Rainmaker, putting in the work to defend for their team and get that map control. And it just seems to me that Blank Z isn't the only team that can move like a unit here, because with a comp change, King seems to have the confidence to just take them head on.
And with a really nice dodge of that Reef Slider, we do get a couple of points past the checkpoint, but nothing much comes out of that push as we do end up seeing King get a wipeout. Now, Blink C has the Rainmaker in their possession, and like I said, it's a game about checkpoints. They pop that checkpoint, but they are 3 down at the moment. Soren looking to finish him up, as we can see that how do I pronounce that? Hobna is just really doing their best to survive out here in such a harsh conditions here. Multi on that left side looking to try and skirmish with whatever is lurking over there. That Rainmaker is steadily moving forward, but we see that Reef Slider is in the pocket and ready to launch.
Indeed, but with Multi going down and it's out here doing carbon shenanigans. I say that very loosely because they are cooking something. We're seeing King with the comeback. They're working on it with just a point difference. They just need a point to get the lead. They just need to ink up and just run the Rainmaker. Don't even think about it at that point. They just need to run the Rainmaker if they want a chance to get lead. They just have to run it right now.
Speaking of running that Rainmaker, they get another point under their belt now, but both teams are looking like they're going to have several of their members down. Zog here has the bubble ready for a nice direct right to the Rainmaker, and that bubble is still in that back pocket, ready to be popped at any possible moment here. We see that Blink C does end up having the Rainmaker with a 2-point lead differential. King has to keep it out of their corridor in order to keep that lead and prevent Blink C from sweeping them. Blink C does end up going 2 down. We see a nasty stamp throw, ending up splatting that Rainmaker. Like you said, that Wellstring is really doing the work.
I was just going to say that it was going to be up to Ultra to make sure things were in line while their teammates were down. Hob now here with a pop, trying to be all like, nah, we don't want your campfire here. You can't have your s'mores here. You're trying to lock us out. I don't know, I was just trying to be funny there for a second, but in all seriousness, King has a good lead by a few points. 10 points. And that matters more than you think.
Absolutely, especially, like I said, on Scorch Gorge, it's really hard to push past that checkpoint. 10 points can be the difference between losing and winning, and there is less than a minute left, 30 seconds left on the clock now, as King is in the lead. Hobna is going to be grabbing that Rainmaker with those sippies, but that Carbon from behind does end up getting a nice pop alongside that Ultra Stamp being thrown by that Wellstring. Ultra just doing the work here. We do end up seeing King popping that Rainmaker, and all they have to do is grab it and hold on to it for as long as they possibly can. But with that, Blank Sea does end up picking the Rainmaker up. It is looking like they are going to try and go for an overtime push here. Now King has to be in control of every single move that Rainmaker does, because one wrong move, that Rainmaker goes too far, and King does end up going down here. But it is looking like they do have a solid chance of winning here. Benny is just trying their best to hold on to that Rainmaker for dear life, but that ticker is ticking down.
All they have to do is GG camp the Rainmaker. They just have to shark the Rainmaker, and that's it. But with so much paint control for Blank Z, that's going to be a little bit of a tall order. But they can also stall them out, because look at that, the timer's going down. Wait, let's try Zuka. Oh, they almost got them with the Trizuka. Just need a little bit more time, and that's it. That's the game.
That's game. King ends up preventing a sweep here. I do believe they do end up winning that. We are back in business. King managing to get the points up over Blank Z. While they did try their best to do an overtime push there, the Rainmaker expires when the Rainmaker expires, and that ended up being played against Blank Z. So we are moving on to a game 4. That means Umami zones will be in play for the next match, and I am excited to see how we're going to take this newfound strength, this newfound morale from King, and run with it.
Indeed, King made the good decision to switch over to Wellstring, and I think it was the switch over to Sploosh that may have aided King a little bit more. And what I like about King's gameplay is that they focused more on stalling out the Rainmaker rather than just going for the GG camp, because like I was thinking that they should have done. Now I'm starting to see that with all that pain control, you would have probably been found out pretty easily if you tried sharking it. Knowing me, I'd try sharking a Rainmaker. Be like, it's my fish, it's my Rainmaker. But GG's both teams so far. I can't wait to see how they clash against each other in Umami Ruins. Do you think we're going to see the return of... I don't know. I can't remember what they had before Sploosh. My brain won't tell me.
Ooh,
oh,
we're switching back. We're switching back to both the original comps.
Late canvas, here we go. 2 teams heading for the mid. Heading for mid.
2 teams duking it out on Umami Ruins while the excavation is happening all around them. Now, Umami Ruins, is quite the special map. It is probably the most played dual zones map in the entirety of the Splatoon 3 tournament scene. King does end up going 3 down in the moment. Now Blank Sea needs control of that zone. They do end up taking control, and now the onslaught starts with that bubble in mid. Habana is just holding on to that top area, but Ultra says it is now my time to shine. They are on that Dynamo once again, switching from the Wellstring to the Dynamo, dare I say, and with a flick of the wrist, they are in control of the zone, while Blank Z gets an 18-tick penalty. Not a big one, but it could just be enough for King to be able to... Holy cow! Oh my god!
Wait, what was that? It was a 3-piece for a Dynamo Roller as they get the lead for King. What was that? That was awesome.
Holy mackerel! That Carbon Roller knows exactly how to play. Oh my goodness. An incredible play from the Carbon means that King is in control of the zone, and that control just keeps going. Multi does end up getting Soren down, but it goes down themselves, and it is some absolutely explosive gameplay as that Carbon is not stopping! The Carbon is getting kill after kill! The zone is active in King's favor, and the vibes are high as we can see that aura is just absolutely helping them with, especially on that Carbon, that extra movement speed is nothing but help when we are going down to the single digit ticks. Now they need to move fast if they want to get back in control of the zone, and it's
No way! Absolutely no way! The Carbon Rollers on their shenanigans! Oh, goodness me. And I think I saw the splashdown getting outright cancelled somehow at one point. How do you even do that? Oh, we're going to Game 5. Oh,
well-deserved Game 5 indeed.
Yeah.
We are at oh my gosh, just reverse sweeping coming? Maybe. But with King and Blake C just both showing really solid, super awesome gameplay in both of the games that they have, both of the games that they have won so far. The Game 5 decider is going to be Barnacle and Dime Clamblitz. Can we get the very first Barnacle in the chat for the FLUTI season? I'm hyped. I am so hyped for this. Both of these teams, just amazing participants in this Div X bracket. It might be clams, but I'm ready. I'm prepared for it. And I do want to let you guys know that you will want to stick around after the grand finals is over, because us here at Dapple Productions have a very exciting announcement for you. So stick around after the fact, because we've got some really great news for y'all.
We're gonna move on to Clamblitz on Barnacle and Dime. Oh wow, so King has some newfound confidence. Blank Z, I think they're gonna try to do a lead switch on Blank Z. What do you, not a lead switch, comp switch.
Well, let's take a look and see if you're correct here. Our Game 5 match point is gonna come out in an explosive way. We do not see a comp switch from King, and we do not see a comp switch from Blank Z. Like you said before, this is a blank canvas for both of these teams. These are comps that they are familiar with, that they know how to play around, and with, I feel like Blank Z might be in a bit of an advantage here just because of the fact that Reef Cheese is such much more of a huge thing on this map than it typically would be otherwise.
Indeed, two people already going down on either team right now, and we've got a nice defensive bubble. They're in the street without a street pass, Omna! Make them show the 3DS! But for real, they've already got a basket in at 4 minutes and 22 seconds into the game.
Ooh, we do end up seeing a clam get whiffed underneath the basket, but no matter, the clams are slowly but surely making their way in. But like we were seeing earlier, it is just slow but steady. They do end up getting another power clam built into the basket, but Blanksy does end up going 3 down in the moment now. They are in the lead, 151. As King moves forward onto Blanksy's territory, they need to get those clams up and running as soon as possible if they want to shut Blanksy down.
Indeed, but Blanksy will have to reclaim their stack and push them back out if they want to keep the chance to win Grand Finals, but King just has to keep control of his stat and make sure that nobody is going in the street without a street pass, and that goes for both teams, honestly.
Absolutely, we see those Sippies are up for King now. With the Sippies active, it's looking like they're trying to get their stuff together. We see double power clams in play on the side of Kings, but it does end up going down to that triple splashdown, but the barrier is broken! Someone has gone behind Benny and gotten that barrier broken, giving him a bit of a lead here. or not a lead here, but close to where they want to be for a lead. 51-77 now, 3 minutes remaining in the match. It is still anybody's game at this point. Tensions are high, and the clams are even higher.
Indeed they are, and the paint control is paint controlling out here. We have there's two of them flashing. I'm at a loss for words. I thought somebody was gonna go for a swim down there, but I forgot that there was a new pit since like 2,000 updates ago. Benny going down, Trizuka getting canceled. Hobna standing on business, just run it in, Hobna, run it in, they do.
And with that,
not trying to be behind.
no, go ahead. With that, the penalty points have been broken, and the clams still keep coming, getting another power clam in here. They're one power clam away from getting this, and they did not win it! They hit the basket, and Blink Z ends up taking the Div S finals underneath their belt, knocking King out of the park to second place!
That's it! That's the game for Blink Z! Oh my god! How?
Holy moly!
Teams.
Just a clams sandwich here to end off the Div S finals here. The grand finals between King and Blink Z. Blink Z takes it 3-2. King was going for that reverse sweep, but do end up going down to silly clam funny business, because I for sure thought that they were not going to be able to get that jump in. I thought for sure the jump was going to go down before they had the chance to throw that clam, but the clam soaring perfectly, majestically over the heads of everyone into the basket was just sublime.
That was so cool for both teams. GG's both teams. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. GG's to both of these teams. And like we said before, please do stick around because we've got something special for you coming up right as we speak.
Take a look.
They're on to Jacket, and they get a quad. They will a full wipeout by now multiple members. That's a fifth, and now a sixth. And Zenith, she cannot be stopped. They're close on me. Hey, there. Oh, big double! Huge double Dazuka.
Getting ready to get a really big push going. Funny here, pushing up, getting a pick onto Jared. Now flanking around and getting 3 members. That's a complete wipe.
He's getting taken down, but Melon's still here on the sidelines, just trying to get something done. But oh, really nice shot across the side angle. Will actually work it back getting legal as well. Shot by Ice because with the buoy bomb, a little paint bomb, and a full wipeout.
That is right. 20XS series, the major from Dapple Productions, is back. It'll be hosted on the 14th and 15th of March, and every team qualifies for day 2.
That's right, everyone. We are bringing it back. 20XX Series 6, like my buddy Mocha was saying, 14th, 15th of March. Every team will qualify for day 2, but the starting prize pool is $200. That's right, $200 for your team. Just starting out if you end up winning the starting prize pool here. Now, I do want to let everybody know that the tournament map pool is curated from the FLUTI map pool. If your team is playing in FLUTI season, playing in this tournament is a great way to get your team ready for the FLUTI season. If you guys want more information on how to join up, please join our link in the Discord, dapple.inc/20xx, because we'll have more information for you guys there.
And we'll have our registration links as well. That's really exciting. 20XX is really, really exciting. Like, I've never fought in it before, but I might ask my team to go into it. Participate.
Absolutely. I feel like you should. If you haven't played and you guys are ready for like curated FLUTI map pools, ready for just getting your team together for FLUTI and wanting to practice the actual FLUTI map pools, play it. Play in it. Register. It's going to be a whole lot of fun here on Dapple Productions. I do regret to inform everyone here now that after that incredible announcement and that incredible game series of FLUTI 7, it is now our time to say goodnight to all of our friends over on the EU side of things and say good afternoon to all of our American and North American viewers. With that, my name is Carney. You can find me on my Blue Sky at carnivai.bsky.social or over here on Discord. I do commentary for Dapple's IPL Under Pressure, Splatoon Tourney, and if you are checking out the LAN Championship Showdown, I will be at New Inkland in April.
And I have been Moku. You can find me at mokudraws1020.bsky.social. I'm usually around as a Dapple Productions commentator. And if y'all are checking out Anarchy Nova, that's also an LCS qualifier. I will be at the third one at the end of March. Come say hi. I think that's
I think
that's it, right?
I think that's it. Oh yeah.
All right.
Somebody that Mocha was ready for like
It happens. We'll be seeing y'all around.
Bye everyone.